that defend well, that rebound well, have a lot of size, and the opening tip is controlled by Tennessee, and here's Jordan Horston.
We'll expect man-to-man defense out of both of these teams and a lot of on-ball screens within each team's offense.
Rae Burrell is in the starting lineup for Tennessee here today. Her second start of the season, started in the opener, of course, suffered an injury in that game, has been battling back, her 6th game back after an injury. Alexis Dye with a pretty spin down the lane for the game's first 2. Georgia's starting 5 has Sarah Ashley Barker, Michaela Coombs, Jenna Stady, Jordan Isaacs, Q Morrison. Stady is the leading scorer and rebounder. Isaacs a steady presence, making her 47th straight start, and Coombs has been playing very well, had the game-winning shot to beat Mississippi State last time out. Tennessee starting 5 does have Rae Burrell because Tess Darby is not with the team due to COVID protocols, so she had started each game this year, not on the trip. That's why Burrell goes in to the starting 5 instead of coming off the bench here today.
And Kelly Harper told us, she goes, yeah, it's a tough problem when you bring your All-American into the starting lineup, but she had loved Rae Burrell's presence coming off the bench, just great scoring production that they will lose from the bench today.
Here's Morrison, defended by Jordan Walker. Shot clock down to 5 and knocked away. Some of that good defense, and here is Dye, and Coombs will let her go.
Well, Eric, we talked about the defense of both teams. We talked about how good both teams are on the glass. Unfortunately, both of these teams had an issue of turning the ball over. Who can capitalize on their opponent's miscues today?
And a foul called on Georgia, miscue on the Lady Dogs, and a good start for Tennessee. Foul is on Isaacs. And here come the Lady Vols. Christie flinched on that one. No one else was watching that pass, it would appear, but Burrell caught it at the last second. Here's Horston, has great size. Tamari Key has greater size, but Stady in the battle gets the rebound on the inside.
Well, Stady and Key have both had great seasons to this point, but today they will go against equal-sized defenders unless you step out to the 3 to knock it down.
Which she can do. That's the 6th 3 she's made this year, her 21st attempt, and Georgia's on the board. We welcome those of you who watch Ole Miss knock off Kentucky. We're in the opening minutes here at Stegman Coliseum in Athens. Eric Freed, Christy Thomas-Scuddy for this top 25 showdown. Tennessee, the first place team in the SEC, undefeated in conference play at 6-0 and ranked 5th in the country, out to an early 6-3 lead over the Georgia Lady Bulldogs, who come in 13th in the country. Dye can't get the roll, and a foul is called on Georgia on the glass. Tamari Key is in the starting lineup for Tennessee. She rolled her ankle last time out against Kentucky. That was a week ago. Tennessee had a bye week. That really came in handy for the Lady Vols and their big post, Christy Thomas-Scuddy, to get Key ready for this showdown with Georgia.
Well, they just needed that size inside to battle Jenna Stady and all the posts that'll come off the bench for UGA.
Q Morrison on the pull-up. Morrison having another fantastic season on both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. She brings Georgia within 1. Rae Burrell is in the starting lineup for Tennessee. Lady Vols without Tess Darby, who had started each game this season, but back home in Knoxville due to COVID protocols. On the follow, it's Coombs for Georgia.
And this is when the Lady Bulldogs are at their best, when they can force a turnover and get out in transition. And we've already talked about how good Tennessee's half-court defense is. The way to score against it, don't allow it to set up, push in transition.
It will be Tennessee basketball. As I mentioned, Lady Vols didn't play on Thursday. They beat Kentucky Sunday a week ago in Knoxville, convincingly 84-58. Slow start for Kelly Harper's team, but as we've seen all year, defense and rebounding has led the way, and a foul is called here on Tennessee.
Well, Eric, UGA runs a zone out-of-bounds defense. On the season, opponents are turning the ball over 25% of the time. Once again, UGA forces the turnover.
Foul on Horston, her first. The previous Georgia foul was on Michaela Coombs. So Isaacs with one, Coombs with one. These are two teams with a lot of depth. Not as deep as they normally would be. Jillian Hollingshed, freshman post player, is out with a non-COVID illness, so she's unable to go today, and I mentioned Darby's status. Horston sets for three. Horston's having a tremendous season. Went for 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists against Kentucky. Really good line, but that ended her string of 3 straight double-doubles as she has been filling up the stat sheet.
Well, and I think what doesn't show on the stat sheet is just how clutch Jordan Horston has been for the Lady Vols in so many close games and comebacks this season.
Sarah Ashley Barker with the scramble in the lane, but then a 3-second violation is called, a turnover for Georgia. Both teams struggling with turnovers so far, each with 4 in the opening minutes of this first quarter.
Well, this is definitely a possessions game for these two teams. We talked about how good they are on the offensive glass, but unfortunately, they've been giving away too many freebies on the season to opponents. Which team can take care of the ball and prevent the other from getting out in transition?
Sarah Puckett on the floor along with Brooklyn Miles for Tennessee. A couple of talented freshmen fitting right into this experienced group, and that experience does feature a couple of key transfers. That one is thrown out of bounds. So Tennessee with the turnover problems, but as we've seen time and again this season, they still have they are not perfect for a team that's only suffered 1 loss this season, and they're perfect in conference play. She says they play through those mistakes much better because they've got, frankly, a lot of experience playing through those turnovers.
Well, they do, but they've also made up for the turnovers by how effective they've been on the offensive glass, averaging 17 O-boards a game.
Good job by Stady. I think Tennessee thought she was going to shoot it from the outside again. Instead, Stady found Isaacs for 2.
Well, Isaacs is open because you hit it on the head. Everyone thought Stady would shoot it because she made that 3 earlier. That's the advantage UGA has with Jenna Stady in terms of the bigs and pulling Tamara Key away from the basket.
Sarah Ashley Barker, the leading 3-point shooter for this Georgia team, off the mark, and Q Morrison with a defensive rebound. Tried to feed it to Isaacs. It was knocked out by Dye. Substitution for Tennessee, Kean Green will come into the game. Another one of those fantastic grad transfers for Tennessee. Green and Dye this year. Walker came in last year. Well, Green came in last year as well, but she suffered an injury after 4 games. Shot clock at 6. Coombs knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Tennessee. 2 to shoot.
Expect a top pass here for Jenna Stady or Coombs. Just try a quick catch and shoot here on the out-of-bounds play.
Well, Tamari Key's ready for it. She's 6'6" and has those arms up big. Stady got free. And Key's got a rebound.
Good execution by the Lady Dogs. Unfortunately, Stady just couldn't get to go down. And if you love defense, this is the matchup I've been waiting for. Q Morrison and Brooklyn Miles, 2 of the best on-ball defenders in the SEC.
Well, a turnover again by Tennessee, and Morrison gets the contact. Doesn't get the basket, but she will go to the free throw line for a couple.
That's the second layup Q Morrison's missed this early point in the game. I think she's just so amped up right now. We've talked about what's at stake, and the graduate senior, Q Morrison, in transition through the contact, just couldn't get the ball to fall.
But Q Morrison is an elite free throw shooter, second in the conference at 89%. Grad student from Riverdale, Georgia. So key in that signature win for Georgia at NC State when she went for 20 points. Pulled down 6 rebounds, had 6 assists and 5 steals. Looking for another win to add to their resume here today against the top 5 team. Puckett stays with it. Traveling violation. Turnover number 7 for Tennessee. Kelly Harper disagrees.
Eric, you got the matchup of two former players from the state of Alabama going one-on-one, and I'm not sure about that one. I thought it was two steps.
Morrison, that won't drop. Stady knocked it out of bounds. Tennessee ball, 3 minutes to go. So we're 7 minutes into the first quarter, and Tennessee has 7 turnovers in those first 7 minutes. Yet look at the scoreboard, they're only down by a couple.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because of their defense, because of their rebounding, they're always in a game. And Eric, we talked about this the last 2 days. Despite whatever the scoreboard's going to say today, I don't think any lead is safe between these two ball clubs.
Well, defense for Georgia is elite as well, and Michaela Coombs with the block kept it in play. Tennessee lost it out of bounds, and Georgia's got it again. 8 turnovers now.
Well, throughout this season, you've seen the emergence of Michaela Coombs, not just on the offensive end with her scoring, but from a shot blocking and on-ball defensive position as well.
Morrison knocks that down. 6 points for Q Morrison, averaging better than 14 a game. Kean Green, well off the mark. Barker and Key tried to track it down, and it will be Georgia basketball.
UGA is hedging really hard when Tamari Key sets that on-ball screen, and she's open on the roll, but because Jenna Stady is so big, clogging up the view of the guards, Tennessee can't exploit it yet.
Georgia brings a 3-game winning streak into this matchup. Tennessee has won 8 in a row since their only loss of the season. That came to Stanford. Stady, back out to Morrison. And Walker gets called for her first personal foul.
You're seeing some elite change of direction, speed, and just all-out explosiveness by these players. And that time, Walker, I don't think she was ready for that quick crossover of Q Morrison.
See how impressive this season has been for Kelly Harper's team. They've been outstanding on the road, 5-0 on the road this season. Tough test here today in Athens. That's Coombs' shot, that mid-range shot. Burrell comes away with the rebound. Horston back into the game, defended by Morrison.
Look, I think what's been so impressive of Tennessee this season is that the way they found to win. They've won on outside shots. They've won on feeding the ball down low. They've won on comebacks. It's just been a resilient group and a really fun team to watch thus far this season.
Tamari Key ends the drought for Tennessee with her first points. Stady followed it up and was fouled on the jumper.
Well, it's definitely not the traditional offensive rebound putback for Jenna Stady, 15 feet from the basket, but probably most importantly in that whole sequence is drawing the foul on Tamari Key.
I'd say that's about 15 feet outside of her traditional spot to get the putback. Here's Chloe Chapman, played 28 minutes against Mississippi State last time out. Key to the bench after picking up her first personal foul. Another one coming for Stady. Big day of women's hoop today. We've got another big day coming up next Sunday, another quadruple header. Aaliyah Boston, #1 South Carolina, will get things going against the surging Florida Gators, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. 1 of 2 for Stady to put Georgia in front by 3 here in the first.
UGA's been switching on those on-ball screens when it hasn't been the 5 involved, and Tennessee hasn't been able to capitalize yet.
Stady with the block. Took a shot to the nose maybe during this sequence.
Well, this is a physical game. Kean Green goes up for it, and then just Horston gets a piece of Stady as the ball goes out of bounds.
Jordan Horston thought it was the other way, but it is Georgia basketball, final minute of the first. Chapman, Stady was trying to give her an escort to the basket, and Horston got a block there. That's the thing about Jordan Horston, too, and you can just get an idea. I mean, she's got great size. She gets a lot of rebounds. She'll block shots. Georgia executes the baseline out of bounds play beautifully to get Stady free.
Well, both these teams know what one another's trying to run. How do you execute? You got to set solid screens. Great execution on the out-of-bounds play by Georgia.
Horston can't get it. Isaacs batted it to Green. Walker open three. Now, this is what Tennessee does. They will get on the offensive glass and die with a second chance for Burrell. And Tennessee cashes in. This is a big part of Tennessee's success. Morrison with the launch, caught some iron, and that's the end of the first quarter.
Well, it's gone back and forth through the first.
Winning a title, going on to win 4 Olympic gold medals. Kelly Jolly, 3 national titles as the point guard for Tennessee. Now Kelly Harper, the head coach, and that Olympic success that Pat Summitt's teams, Pat Summers players have had through the years. But again, I think it's so important. There's so many people, as Q Morrison knocks down the 3, like you, that had that similar story, inspired to pursue their dream of coaching in basketball, playing in basketball. Joni Taylor was telling us a story yesterday about how she just saw this woman on TV. It's like, whoa, that was the most amazing thing that she had seen, that the intensity that Pat Summitt had, and playing for Alabama, having to put on a show and try to knock off a Tennessee team was a great challenge and thrill for her.
Well, it's remarkable how she continues to impact not just women's basketball, not just athletics, but all walks of life. And Joni shared with us, she said, we didn't have a lot of female role models who were moms and had families. And when I looked across and I saw Tyler with Pat, I knew I could do that one day. And she said, most importantly, Pat always put the game above everything else. And so she said, when we talk about We Back Pat, how can we not step up and fulfill her goal and dream of supporting the fight against Alzheimer's?
A couple of moms going head-to-head in this game here. Moms of 2 kids balancing motherhood and coaching. Horston gets the putback for Tennessee to bring the Lady Vols within 4 after Morrison had knocked down the 3 for Georgia.
Well, Eric, coming out of the break, Tennessee came out into a 2-3 zone. Q Morrison knocks down the 3, so now Tennessee goes back to the man.
Mallory Bates gets on the score sheet, the grad student averaging 5 points a game. Had a good line against Mississippi State, 6 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks.
Well, that's just it when you talk about the success of UGA this season. Yes, Q Morrison, Jenna Stady, Sarah Ashley Barker, but the bench has been so good, averaging 24 points a game, and Mallory Bates is a big part of that.
Reagan Richardson into the game for Georgia off that bench. Couldn't track it down. It'll be Tennessee basketball. Ray Burrell will go to the bench. She's been trying to find her rhythm here today. Now 1 for 3 from the field. Green will check out as well.
Ray Burrell took a shot to the face the last time down on defense. Hoping she's okay.
It seems to be okay. Walking back towards the coaches on the bench, usually a good sign. Away from the athletic trainer. Another turnover for Tennessee. That's number 9.
Well, it was a great set by Tennessee, trying to post Horston up, but even better defense by Mallory Bates to jump in there and steal it.
Bates has it blocked by Key. Tamari Key came in first in the nation in block shots with 68. That gives her 68 right there, that block. Richardson well off the mark. Last touched by Javin Nicholson into the game for Georgia. So Tennessee will take over.
You're seeing shots just look really rushed right now. Reagan Richardson just into the game, just rushed that shot. And that's the defensive pressure that Tennessee puts on you. You feel like, I'm open, I got to get rid of it before something happens.
That's why Georgia, one of the keys here today is trying to get the stops defensively, trying to push tempo and score in transition so they don't face that Tennessee half-court defense. That Georgia half-court defense is pretty stout as well, as Richardson takes the contact. Walker the foul.
And the way UGA has come out on defense, they're almost like, wait a minute. We've heard so much about Tennessee's defense, but ours is really good too. Jordan Walker there just pushing off and gets caught in the act.
That's 2 personal fouls on Walker, so she's at the bench now for Tennessee. Morrison Had an open look for three, won't drop, and Horston skies for the rebound. Horston, no. Dye on the follow, so strong, but traveled, no basket.
Great effort by Alexis Dye on the glass. I mean, how explosive are we seeing these young ladies off the bounce and then leaving the floor to get rebounds?
11 turnovers. Richardson knocks down a three-pointer. Freshman from Charlotte, her 9th made three of the season. Georgia has scored 13 points off of these 11 Tennessee turnovers. It is a major difference in this game right now.
Well, Kelly Harper said, I'm just worried about us getting into our offense because of how disruptive UGA is, and the turnovers have just, I mean, there's just no flow for Tennessee offensively because of those turnovers.
And Tamari Key just picked up her second personal foul. Well,
Yeah,
Kelly Harper has praised her team this year. She's been so pleased with how they've practiced all year. She said a week ago, I think we've had one bad practice all year. And then we asked her last night, she's like, I didn't like our practice today. Coming off a week off, sometimes when you're in a rhythm, you can get knocked off that rhythm, and they are out of sync right now.
Well, I honestly thought the scheduling of this game really favored Tennessee because this is UGA's third game of the week. They had the Monday game, played Thursday, and then obviously here today, whereas Tennessee had that great win over Kentucky last Sunday. But you're seeing, as when you're on a roll, you just want to keep playing. And that's where right now you just feel like for Tennessee, keep this close till they can get some kind of momentum going offensively.
Foul called on Bates. She picks up her first personal. Miles on the attack. Rebound ripped down by Ray Burrell.
You just knew it was a matter of time before Ray Burrell got in on the scoring. Her point production and minutes has gone up each of the last 5 games after missing those first 12 games of the season.
Richardson on the cut, stuck with it, got it, and one.
Reagan Richardson cuts back door without the ball, but more importantly, stays with the miss. Kisses it off the glass for 2.
Well, Tennessee's depth is going to be challenged here because Brooklyn Miles has picked up her second personal foul. So Walker, Key, and Miles all with 2. Again, playing without Tess Darby, who had started each game this season. That has Burrell in the starting lineup.
And this is a Georgia team that's gone very deep in their bench all season long. And I think especially in the post position, they definitely have more posts to throw at Tennessee here this afternoon.
Yeah, they'll throw those bodies on the glass. I mean, that's the one area where you can offset those problems with the turnovers, right? Is if you get on the offensive glass, and right now Tennessee has 13 offensive rebounds, and we still have 5.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Well, we can harp on the turnovers, but I'll also praise the effort on the offensive glass by Tennessee.
Kean Green at the free throw line after the foul called on Nicholson. Well, you get a chance to see the mighty Auburn Tigers. Men's basketball coming up on Tuesday. It's a doubleheader. It's game 2 of the doubleheader. Second-ranked Tigers just knocked off Kentucky in Auburn yesterday. They'll take on Mizzou, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central on Tuesday here on the SEC Network. First point for Green. Richardson, open look. Horston batted it out of play. It will be Georgia basketball.
Hey, if you're going to try to box out Jordan Horston, you better get in her because she is so active on the glass right now for the Lady Vols.
Horston with 5 rebounds so far for Tennessee. She is their leading rebounder and 3rd in the conference at nearly 10 boards a game. Up to Burrell. Tries to take Richardson off the dribble. And Richardson gets called for the foul.
Well, if anybody was wondering if Ray Burrell's back, I think just that sequence off the catch in transition, just change of pace, drawing the foul. She looks good.
You talked about it earlier. We joked yesterday when we found out Tess Darby was going to be out. Like, well, who starts? And Kelly Harper says, well, Ray Burrell. I'm like, well, you know, Ray Burrell is now back in the starting lineup, but that changes that impact that she was bringing off the bench here these last couple of days.
Well, Tennessee has also had a great bench production this season, 25 points a game, and in the last 5 games, a lot of that's been Ray Burrell's point production. And so now, who else can pick up the slack?
Nicholson hesitated for a moment after Horston went down and couldn't hit the shot. Georgia under 40% from the field. That one goes through the hands of Sarah Puckett. Turnover number 12. Coombs, blocking foul is called on Kian Green. That will be her first foul. And that will get us to our 5 minutes media timeout. Georgia and Tennessee, 7-point game, second quarter in Athens. Tennessee is a -6 in turnover margin, but they're a +8 in rebounding margin. Barker couldn't score, batted into the hands of Miles. So the freshman running the point with Walker on the bench with 2 personals. Miles has played quite a bit, averaging 21 minutes a game off the bench this season in her first year with the Lady Vols. And you know, Horston can share the ball and score, but not this time. Stady can't get it to drop, and Burrell traveled. Again, we talked about unforced errors. You want to give Georgia a lot of credit for their defense, but there have been moments where Tennessee has just hurt themselves.
Well, Tennessee is fast, explosive, but at this point in the game, they're trying to play too fast. That's a good 5 of their turnovers have just been moving too quickly and just being sped up and not in control.
Barker fed it to Stady.
And I really believe coming in today, the ability to contain dribble penetration was going to be key for both of these teams because of the post players. You don't want to have your post rotation, which we just saw, which would leave your bigs wide open on the weak side.
There's Green, and Stady gets called for her first personal foul. 7 assists on 11 field goals for Georgia. This is a team that does share the ball. 17 assists a game. That's good for first in the conference. So Green will head to the free throw line. Miles checks out. Another one coming for Kian Green. Tomorrow night, SEC Inside gives you an all-access pass to the Missouri women's basketball program, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Then it's a look at the Mississippi State men's team, only right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app, one tap. Mizzou playing later today on the SEC Network, 3-3 in conference play, taking on Texas A&M. Earlier today, Kentucky fell at home to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has won 4 in a row. They're now 5-1 in the SEC. Another big game for Shakira Austin, going for 24. Alyssa Andrea will bring you the highlights and much more coming up at halftime. Morrison with 2 on the shot clock. They lost track of Puckett, who takes advantage to get her first points.
Well, great find by Tennessee. They just feel like they needed that bucket.
Into Stady. Soft touch on the turnaround.
Jenna Stady has just elevated her game each and every year. That time on the catch, just reverse turnaround jumper so quick before the double could get there.
Turnover number 14 for Tennessee. They average 17 a game.
it was the right read by Horston, just led her teammate a little bit too much.
Morrison and Stady both in the double figures. 11 for Morrison, 10 for Stady in the first half. Up top to Green. Dye settles for the outside shot, but Alexis Dye knocks it down.
Well, Eric, basketball is a game about matchups. And we can say it all day long. The bigs match up so well for both of these teams. They cancel one another out. You got to believe Horston, Q Morrison, they cancel one another out. Ray Burrell should have the advantage, but from a height perspective, Sarah Ashley Barker's matching up extremely well with her right now. I think Alexis Dye is the X factor right now for the Lady Vols. Can she get going offensively?
Horston, off her miss, fights for it. She's got 9, and despite 14 first half turnovers, with a minute to go, Tennessee is only down by 5.
This is where they put pressure on you. For most teams, you play defense till the shot goes up. Against Tennessee, you better keep playing defense until you have the ball in your hands.
Good strip by Kean Green, but then turn right back over, 2-on-1 the other way. Morrison to Coombs. Horston hung in there defensively and carried it out of bounds. It'll be Georgia basketball.
So we've talked about the impact from a statistical perspective of Jordan Horston, but that miss by UGA is a credit to Horston's defense. Won't show up in a stat sheet, but she saved 2 points. Horston turns it over and stayed with this play. Does a little bluff at Q Morrison, times it perfectly against Michaela Coombs.
Officials with a quick conversation just to confirm the time on the clock. And turned over by Georgia. 9 turnovers for the Lady Bulldogs in the first half. Final 30 seconds, second quarter. Foul called on Sarah Ashley Barker. First personal foul, and that is the 5th team foul, so Ray Burrell will go to the free throw line. Burrell was locked in against Kentucky, had 14 points, was 4 for 4 from outside the three-point line. 7 first half points for Burrell, 3-point game. Kaya Wynn, freshman from Richmond, Texas, will come into the game as she and Horston will put a little pressure on Georgia, slow them down in the backcourt. Shot clock is off, game clock now inside of 15. Isaacs tried to drive, lost the handle, and Tennessee will have a final possession.
And Kelly Harper's going offense, defense, get Puckett back in the game for Wynn to try to get 2 more, or at least 2 more points on the board.
Again, the key line from Kelly Harper. When this team makes mistakes, they're able to play through it. Here's Horston with 3, with 2, off the window. There's the horn, and a strong finish by Tennessee. It was not their best half of basketball, and they got to feel thrilled to be just down by 1 at halftime.
Resilient bunch of athletes. Doesn't matter if it's perfect, it's just a matter of what the scoreboard's going to read.
It reads Georgia by 1 at halftime. Halftime report, Alyssa, Drea, all yours. Lady Vols, 2 in double figures for Georgia. Morrison with 11, Stady with 10. Rebounding numbers, interesting. 15 offensive rebounds in the first half for Tennessee, 16 total rebounds for Georgia in that first half. Overall, it was a +11 in rebounding margin in favor of the Lady Vols, who are 2nd in the country in that category behind South Carolina.
Well, set play by UGA, added the break, and just Tamari Key doing what Tamari Key does, and that's the block at the rim.
First points of the second half come from Jordan Isaacs, now with 4. And Georgia on top by 3.
Jordan Isaacs has just been so good for UGA in the past 2 games. On the season, she had been averaging 2.3 points. The last 2 games, 8 points a game.
The lob to Dye, that won't drop. And a foul is called on Isaacs.
Eric, we were talking during the break. I'm not saying that this game's being played above the rim, but just how much the jumping ability has come into play by both these teams, offensively, defensively, and especially on the glass.
It's being played well above the floor.
Yes, I had glue that pulled me back down the floor, it seemed, but these young ladies.
That was just gravity pulling you back down. And a timeout's going to be called here by Tennessee as they had trouble getting it in. And we will take the timeout as well. It comes in the first minute of the third quarter in a 3-point game.
Who's going to win tonight's Bulldog battle, Jack?
I really feel like it'll be Chloe.
Chloe Chapman is his answer. Let's find out.
Second opinion. Back in Athens, 71st meeting all time between Tennessee and Georgia. Georgia won the 2 meetings between these 2 teams a season ago. Tennessee trying to go to 18-1 on the season. The last time they were 18-1 was the 2007-2008 season. So they're 17-1 right now. Look at these similarities between that team and this team. 6-0 in the SEC, only lost to Stanford, an 8-game winning streak, a win over Texas, almost an identical margin against Kentucky. And that's what a lot of Lady Vol fans and basketball fans are asking. Can history repeat itself? Because that team in 2007-2008 ended the season with a trip to the Final Four.
Well, I think Pat Summitt would be the first to say you win championships with defense and rebounding. And so as this team is primed. Now, I've said this all season long, they've got to do a better job of taking care of the ball because that margin of error as you advance, come NCAA tournament time, gets smaller and smaller. They can't afford that many miscues.
So instead of turning it over on the inbounds play, they burn their first timeout. They look for Burrell out of the timeout. That's usually a pretty good option. Ray Burrell now with 9. Stady can't score on the inside, and it's Horston with the rebound. Horston now with 8 rebounds for Tennessee. Burrell on the run, pulls up for 2 more.
I think if you're Jody Taylor, right now your spider senses are tingling because that's 2 in a row for Ray Burrell. You can't afford to allow the veteran player for the Lady Vols to get going offensively.
And their first lead since early in this game. Barker can't give the lead back to Georgia. And now Tennessee, after struggling at times in the first half, finished that second quarter strong, made it a 1-point game at halftime, and now they're up by 1, make it 3.
Alexis Dye, it's just been such a huge addition to Tennessee's team this season. You saw it there. She's undersized, but uses the reverse pivot to face up and so explosive off the bounce.
Morrison On the pull-up, yes. Need a basket, go to Q Morrison. That's kind of been the winning formula for this Georgia team that made it to the SEC Tournament Championship game a year ago. Hand off to Burrell. Burrell, little fake, comes up short. Stady couldn't get the rebound. The dive for the loose ball. That's Barker and Burrell fighting for it, and it will be Georgia basketball. Barker goes over to help Burrell up after the two of them went head-to-head, diving on the sideline.
Barker gets up, leaves her feet to contest, the Burrell miss, and then it's just great effort.
That was Barker actually at the end throwing it off of Burrell with that flip, it looked like. So Barker will check out. Reagan Richardson in the game. Stady. Georgia looking for the outside shot and having success with it. First Morrison, now Stady. Stady with 12.
Now that's your 6'4" post player with that quick of a catch and shoot, but Horston yet again with the response for Tennessee.
Now, speaking of quick, how quickly Tennessee got down the floor. Morrison blocked by Key. Horston throws it out to Walker, has help with Dye, doesn't need it.
Jordan Isaacs was working hard to get back to try to contest that shot, but you just saw the north to south speed by Walker getting to the rim to finish.
Stady. Oh, beautiful little feed. Fighting the cutter, Isaacs for two.
And that's the second great pass that Stady's made in this game. But there's the dribble penetration by Walker. Stady commits, leaving Key open on the weak side.
Tennessee continues to attack in the paint. Back out to a three-point lead. 26 of their 43 points have been scored in the paint. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Shot clock at 7. Coombs had to adjust her shot. Key will have that effect on you, as will Horston, and they'll slow things down.
Well, UGA got lucky that Horston wasn't able to pull that deflection in and take it the other way.
Walker, strong drive. Nope. Into the hands of Coombs. Georgia wants to run. Morrison well short. Coombs offensive rebound, and Richardson can't hang on to it, and it'll be Tennessee basketball.
That possession looked like UGA was the one sped up. I thought Q Morrison rushed her shot. And that's the effect when you face a team that blocks as many shots as Tennessee does. I wish there was a stat that showed altered shots, because you see that time and time again when you watch this Tennessee ball club.
Burrell, that's a mistake by Georgia defensively, as Burrell wide open for the jumper. 13 points for Ray Burrell. This is the largest lead of the afternoon for Tennessee. One and done. Dye's got the rebound. And an offensive foul called on Tamari Key, who knocked over Q Morrison. That'll get us to a timeout. Comes with 4:51 to go in the third quarter. After falling behind by 9 in the second quarter, Tennessee has come back to lead by 5 here in the third.
But this place is about to get even louder.
Look at this. This is the best of the best.
This is best of all time territory. Number 12, Kentucky. Number 7, Kansas. Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
Back inside Stegman Coliseum, Tennessee on top by 5 over Georgia, 45-40. Tamari Key has gone to the bench with their third personal foul. Here's how it happened right before the timeout.
Key's just running down, offensive transition. You see Q Morrison getting her path and just draw the foul on Key. And Eric, we're seeing this throughout the country. Guards are doing this to post all the time. And the way the rule is read right now, it's a foul on Key. I think it's really unfortunate for post players.
What needs to change?
I don't think you should be, because we talk about freedom of movement. To me, that's a freedom of movement play.
So Key on the bench with 3. Stady will try a 3. Thought she had it. Ooh, coming down very hard is Horston. But Jordan Horston won't stay down very long. It'll be Georgia basketball. Fifth-ranked Tennessee, 13th-ranked Georgia. They went down to the wire in their 2 meetings a season ago, both won by Georgia. Both teams coming off victories last time out. Tennessee over Kentucky convincingly last Sunday. Georgia had a big lead in the first half against Mississippi State. Had to hold off a furious comeback, fell behind in the final minute before picking up a win in Starkville. Burrell a little out of control. Taps her chest, saying my bad, and it will be Tennessee basketball.
Well, the first 4.5 or 5.5 minutes of the third quarter is Ray Burrell. 3 of 4 in the quarter, 6 points.
How about the team? 4 of their last 5 from the field, and Tennessee, after having so many problems with the turnovers in the first half, has committed 1 turnover here in the second half.
Well, and that's what Eric, you and I talked about at halftime. What would this Tennessee offense look like if they're not turning it over? And we're seeing it now. They're
And
executing and they're scoring.
Horston will head to the line. I don't know if someone's going to write a story of the season for Tennessee. You know, one of the working titles could be if at first you don't succeed, try again, because that's been Tennessee time and again this year. They may not score the first time or the second time, but they will keep working at it. And Horston converts a second chance opportunity into a 3-point play.
I think your most successful teams are the resilient ones. And that's what we've seen out of Tennessee time and time again this season. You look at the Stanford game, you wonder if they hadn't had such a really tough first half, if they might be sitting here undefeated on the season.
Michaela Coombs with the offensive rebound. Second chance here for Georgia. Coombs, that's her shot, and she knocks it down.
Can't say enough about the growth of Michaela Coombs. Really was a player who scored off the bounce so much in her first couple seasons with UGA. That shot just looking beautiful now, the pull-up jumper.
Georgia swarms Green on the inside. Hot pass to Coombs, and a jump ball. Was that Horston who got the hand in there? It was. Horston with the palm on the basketball. Possession arrow will give it to Tennessee. Great defensive play by Jordan Horston.
Hey, partner, when in doubt right now, it is Jordan Horston. She is so active. And we talked about resiliency, staying in the plays. You think UGA is going to have an easy 2 in transition. The Lady Vols sprint back. Horston with the block, or I should say, the tie-up.
Oh, good strong take by Jordan Walker. 2 more for Tennessee. The Lady Vols back up on top by 8. They have outscored Georgia 19-10 in this quarter.
They have Jordan Walker listed at 5'8". I'm going to say it's probably more like 5'6", and she scored over the 6'2" Bates.
Bates will go to the free throw line. She was fouled by Green. 2 fouls on Green, and Mallory Bates will head to the free throw line. Bates with 2 in the first half. We are in the middle of a big day of women's college basketball today on the SEC Network. We'll have another big 4 games coming next Sunday, starting with number 1 South Carolina taking on the Florida Gators. Florida and LSU in a battle right now. 2-point lead for the Gators, who had an impressive win at Kentucky on Thursday night.
Well, to this point in the season, there's not a better story than Florida exceeding expectations with interim head coach Kelly Ray at the helm.
Inside of 2.5 to go, third quarter. Count it for three. Reagan Richardson, the freshman, delivering a big three to make it a three-point game. Burrell gets the handle back. Horston wants it back. Off the mark, and rebound controlled by Georgia. That was Richardson going down to keep it alive. Richardson, not this time. Morrison, hustle play to take it away for Georgia.
It's just what you've come to expect with Q Morrison when she's on the floor. She just tracks everything down. She's so, and we said it about Tennessee, resilient, but so is Q Morrison.
Morrison can't get the hoop, and here is Walker. Walker feeds it to Green and knocked away by Georgia. And down under the basket, I think it's Kean Green, who took a hard tumble. Tennessee athletic training staff and head coach Kelly Harper were out there very quickly. And it is Kean Green. Now Tennessee's players will head to the bench, and Georgia's will as well. Looks like they're getting in a position to help her up. And no pressure being put on that left leg. Now a little bit of pressure as she walks off with some help. Now, we had a chat via Zoom yesterday with Kean, and it would be hard to find a more impressive young lady than Kean Green, who is pursuing a PhD right now. We wish her the best. Just an amazing series of accomplishments. Has an undergrad degree, has a graduate degree, right now is working on a PhD, which is a years-long process that she's a semester into. But you could not stop but just listen and be so impressed with her, and it just breaks your heart to see her carried off the court. And like I said, we wish her the very best, but I know we both talked for a while after talking with her about how wonderful her accomplishments off the court have been for Tennessee.
Yeah, both she and Jordan Walker selected to the So You Want to Be a Coach program with the WBCA. I mean, honestly, after speaking with Green, I just felt like I had accomplished nothing in my life compared to her. Just such a remarkable young lady.
So we'll keep an eye. Obviously, she went down past the bench, down the runway. So if we get a report, we will pass it along to you. Here's Chloe Chapman for Georgia. Final minute of the third quarter. Chapman tried to force it inside. Richardson turns around, had plenty of time on the shot clock. Still drew iron. Caroline Striplin is into the game for Tennessee with Green out. Tamari Key on the bench with 3 fouls for the Lady Vols. Horston, Burrell, turns around on Stady. Puckett with the second chance.
Puckett came all the way from the weak side to track that rebound down.
5 seconds. Chapman tries to get around Horston. Chapman got all the way and got a great look before time expired, but it wouldn't drop. So it looked like Tennessee was in complete control in that third quarter, but Georgia pushed back late in the quarter. As expected, we're going to go down to the wire again in the series with Tennessee and Georgia on the floor.
Up a game somewhere, because it's never too early to where these head coaches are working to get that double bye come SEC tournament time.
Now Tennessee had a great opportunity there to make Georgia pay, but a turnover and a traveling violation. So Georgia will take over. Tennessee had just 1 turnover in the third quarter after having 15 in the first half. Nicholson in trouble, held the ball too long and got tied up. She didn't have anywhere to go with it, and it'll be Tennessee basketball. Jordan Walker walks it across half court for the Lady Vols. Tamari Key back into the game, was fouled by Nicholson.
Javin Nicholson's undersized when you compare her to Tamari Key. She can't allow Tamari Key to get that deep in the paint, or it's going to be 2 points for the Lady Vols every time.
Key, 59% free throw shooter. A reminder, tomorrow night you can take an inside look at the Missouri women's basketball team. 9 Eastern, 8 Central, Mississippi State men's team as well at 9:30 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Christy talked about one of the big stories in college basketball this year, the turnaround for the University of Florida. Perhaps the biggest win of the season was posted by the Missouri women when they knocked off #1 South Carolina. Key with the rejection. 7 blocks now for Tennessee. Tough take by Burrell. And a foul is called on Tennessee.
Chloe Chapman thinks she has the lane, but you never want to go scoop shot against Tamari Key, who just picked up her 4th foul. And that's huge for Tennessee because already 5 blocks on the evening.
Key did pick up foul number 4, so she goes to the bench with 8:50 to go in the 4th quarter. So Key on the bench with 4. Kean Green has not returned to the bench area. Jordan Horston on the floor now for Tennessee. Nicholson inside to Stady. So with Key on the bench and Kean Green out of action right now, if you're Georgia, you want to attack the paint.
Joni Taylor didn't ask my opinion, but that's what I would have done. Exactly. Go to the high-low action, pull one of the other bigger players away, let Stady go one-on-one.
Horston couldn't get it. Dye had it ripped out of her hands. And a tie-up. Players getting a little heated, fighting for the loose ball. It'll be Georgia ball. Chapman checks out, Coombs back in. Now Kelly Harper asking Luis Gonzalez to huddle up with Denise Brooks. Was there any contact up above the shoulders there during that exchange? Could be the question that the Tennessee head coach is asking, and they will perhaps go to the monitor here to look. They're going to send players to the bench here, and they will go to the monitor. First, a conversation. And Denise Brooks will tell us what's up. First, straightening it out with the scores table. Oh, Denise going to make us wait. Denise! The mic's right there. All right, so let's see what they might be looking at here. Is it there? Is it Stady coming down on Dye and making any contact there? That first thing, because when Stady ripped it away, there was nothing up above to puck it.
Honestly, I saw the staff of Tennessee making a pushing motion with their arms. The only thing I think is that it's right here where Jenna Stady kind of pushes Puckett away a little bit.
Okay.
after the review, it's just a jump ball.
I knew Denise wasn't going to let us down.
Never. I agree 100% with that.
So this will be our media timeout. And Kelly Harper getting the explanation from our official Denise Brooks. It's a 5-point game here in Athens in the fourth quarter. All right, just to clear things up, Tennessee did ask for the review, so they've been charged a timeout. That's why we're in immediate timeout right now. Gives us a chance to review bracketology. It seems Charlie Cream is pulled out of his bracketology cave earlier and earlier each year, but we're happy to see it because it is so competitive in this conference and around the country that this is going to be a great talking point going forward into March. The number 1 seeds include Tennessee on the floor here today. You see the 2 seeds, Louisville, after losing to NC State, dropped down to the 2 line, and Tennessee moved up to a number 1 line. When you take a look at the bids by conference, SEC with 8 teams, according to Charlie NCAA Field, 8 teams from the ACC as well. It is going to be a great second half of the conference season, especially in the SEC.
Well, when you have that many teams, you're talking about more than half of the SEC teams, there's obviously room for teams to, one, enter into the field, obviously fall out, and in UGA's case, even here today, increase their seed projection. Enhance, I should say.
Georgia basketball out of the media timeout. After us, you'll see Arkansas take on Mississippi State. Arkansas putting 99 on the board Thursday, last time out against Alabama. Trying to feed it into Barker, taken away by Miles for Tennessee.
Miles,
Turnover.
I was going to say, Miles just used her speed to get around and get that steal.
And she's got a lot of speed. 15 turnovers now for Georgia. Again, Tennessee has done a much better job taking care of the basketball. Just 2 second-half turnovers for the Lady Vols. That's helped them to a 5-point lead. Not much happening here. Shot clock at 3. Barker with the block. Walker got it off in time. Nicholson the rebound.
First half, UGA was able to get out in transition and score. Didn't have to go against this just heralded half-court defense of Tennessee, or they were scoring off of turnovers. This half, they've been forced to try to convert in the half-court, and they've struggled offensively.
Nicholson feeds it inside. Stady again.
High-low game by UGA. As long as Key is on the bench, I would continue to go to that. Get Stady down low.
Horston spinning on Barker. That's short. Batted out of bounds. Last touched by Tennessee. It'll be Georgia basketball. So Tennessee is lacking some of the size on the glass. They're going deeper into the bench now to bring in Emily Saunders, a post who has played in 11 games this season. Key on the bench with the 4 fouls. She picked up that 4th 2 minutes ago.
Well, I like the substitution by Kelly Harper. Everyone in this facility knows that UGA wants to go inside to Jenna Stady. So go with a little bit of size with Saunders.
Stady from the outside. Nicholson kept it alive to Barker. Tennessee hacking at it and taking it away. Horston, Miles for 3.
I love the impact Brooklyn Miles has on this Lady Vol program. Just brings such tenacity on the defensive end, but probably the biggest 3 of the game so far for the Lady Vols.
Just the 6th 3-pointer she's made this season. Stady goes inside to Nicholson. Nicholson leaning in to die. Count it and one.
Javin Nicholson's been so good offensively for UGA this entire season because she streamlined the process. All she needs is a drop step there. So strong. Takes it up through the contact, and the bench is loving it.
Sarah Puckett into the game as Dye will check out, but only for a moment. That was the first personal foul on Dye. Burrell coming back into the game, as you can see, for Tennessee. Nicholson trying to finish off a three-point play. Miles to the bench. Burrell comes on. Tipped by Morrison to Puckett. Morrison all over Walker, who gets help from Horston, but not in time. 5 call. Turnover, Tennessee.
And I gotta believe Kelly Harper probably would have called timeout, but because she's already burned 2, instead just ate the turnover.
Great point. They had to use one in the first minute of the third quarter when they had trouble getting the ball in, and then they were charged the second timeout when they asked for a review. And now Stady throws it away. Horston, Morrison comes out to greet her. That won't drop. Tennessee has missed 6 of their 7 field goal attempts here in the fourth quarter. Again, looking for Stady, defended by Saunders. Barker to Nicholson. Stady. Georgia, Horston with the block, batted out of bounds by Coombs, and it'll be Tennessee basketball. Good defense in the half court, the trademark for the Lady Vols.
Horston with 3 blocks on the evening to go along with the double-double so far in the game of 16 points and 10 rebounds.
Her 9th double-double this year, 10th of her career. Gives you an idea how good this junior season has been for Jordan Horston. Burrell. Barker with the steal. Up to Morrison. Morrison takes it at Walker, and a blocking foul called on Jordan Walker.
Well, Q Morrison's on-ball defense forced the turnover. Sarah Ashley Barker passes ahead to Q Morrison in transition. Just goes against the grain through the contact and at the free throw line.
Again, Morrison, an outstanding free throw shooter at 89%, second in the SEC. After picking up her 4th foul with 8:50 to go in the quarter, Tamari Key is back into the game now for Tennessee. And a bit of good news for the Lady Vols. We see Kian Green is returned to the bench, but at closer inspection, she does have her left knee taped up with ice, and she's at the end of the bench. So there you see Kian, but in cheerleader mode right now for the Lady Vols.
But I think that's still big for the Lady Vols because you're talking about the leader of this team. Kelly Harper couldn't say enough about Kian Green's leadership ability.
Walker ran into Sarah Ashley Barker, and Q Morrison gets in the face of her teammate because she's fired up. Walker picks up her 4th.
We knew it was going to be about the defense today. Just swarming UGA defense. Sarah Ashley Barker with the steal, and Walker unfortunately gets called with that foul. And Eric, I got to say this. When you talk about Jenna Stady and Q Morrison, they came back for this 5th year because they felt like they had unfinished business. They said just getting to the SEC championship game was not enough. hence the emotion that you're seeing from Q Morrison right now.
Nicholson tried it from the outside. Brooklyn Miles into the game for Walker, who went to the bench with the 4 fouls. Running the point now for Tennessee. Lady Vols lead by 2. They were down by 1 at halftime. Had a strong third quarter. Georgia has pushed back. Tennessee has had trouble against Georgia's defense. Sarah Ashley Barker continues to fly around the court here at Stegman. She hasn't stayed on the court the entire time, giving it her all in this great matchup against 2 of the most successful teams in SEC women's basketball history. Horston with 5. Horston looking for a trip to the line. She'll get that, and a chance for a 3-point play. What a bucket by Jordan Horston.
We've said resiliency. Can I throw in the term clutch when it comes to Jordan Horston there? Knowing shot clock was going down, attacks the rim, gets the foul, gets the bucket.
Horston 68% from the free throw line. Ray Burrell gets after it, but it's controlled by Nicholson. 3 minutes to go, 4-point game. Barker looks for Morrison, who sets and fires. Barker hangs in the air to get a hand on it. And it's last touch by Tennessee. Another good hustle play by Sarah Ashley Barker. She has not scored today, but she has contributed with the hustle.
I had a newspaper reporter talking to me about Sarah Ashley Barker earlier this week, and he said she's at the right place because she plays like a Bulldog.
Nicholson on the offensive glass. Horston comes away with it. Dye. Offensive foul called on Alexis Dye. Guess who took the contact?
I should probably clarify that the Bulldog statement was a true compliment. Sarah Ashley Barker moving her feet, drawing the charge on Alexis Dye.
Timeout called by Georgia. Georgia basketball with 2:24 to go. Dye now with 2 personal fouls. 2 players with 4 in this game. They both play for Tennessee. Tamari Key with 4. Jordan Walker with 4. Again, Tennessee is shorthanded. Tess Darby, who had started each game this season, not with the team today. And Kean Green suffered an injury here in the second half of this game. For Georgia, no one with more than 2 personal fouls, so no one in foul trouble at all for the Lady Bulldogs, who are down by 4. Their largest lead was 9 in the first half. Tennessee stormed back out of the locker room at halftime after making a strong run at the end of the second quarter. Tennessee would go on top by 8 in the third quarter. And you see, it has been a defensive battle. There have been turnovers, but the intensity level of this game has been sky high right from the opening tip. We've had a great crowd here, over 5,100, and they've been vocal from the tip. This has been a great, entertaining game, and it's going to come down to a final possession, you would think, one more time in this Tennessee-Georgia rivalry. Coombs can't score, and Tamari Key's got the rebound. Horston off for Burrell. Burrell weaves through traffic. Coombs got a hand on it. Brooklyn Miles, can she do it again? Not this time, and Morrison's got the rebound. Georgia has missed their last 6 field goal attempts as we approach 90 seconds to go here in the fourth.
Well, Georgia scored back-to-back buckets on the high-low, and since then they've gone away from it, and as you mentioned, have struggled to score.
Nicholson gets help from Morrison. Horston there defensively. Great matchup one-on-one here. Morrison wants a screen. Shot clock at 2. Pulled down by Dye. And Horston will slow things down. 1 minute to go in the fourth. Burrell challenged by Morrison. Good job defensively, and Tamari Key was fouled. Nicholson gets called for the personal.
Well, Eric, you almost felt like it wasn't going to be the first shot on this possession. The 20th offensive rebound in some regards is probably the biggest, because this could extend this game to a 3-possession ball game, or 2-possession, I should say. I can't do math.
Oh, this game, you've been invested in this game. You've got a lot going on right now. Tamari Key calmly knocks down 2 free throws, and Georgia will take a timeout with inside a minute to go, and Tennessee on top by 6. Tennessee is dead last in free throw shooting in the SEC, but Tamari Key comes up with 2 clutch free throws to put the Lady Vols on top by 6. At the top of our telecast, you talked about that 1-2 punch, Jordan Horston and Tamari Key. Key's been battling foul trouble, but she has had an impact, and Horston's had a big impact on this game.
Well, if you call it 18 points, 11 rebounds, and impact, it's been huge. And she's been clutch, because it's as much when she has scored as how she has scored. And then can't say enough about Tamari Key's presence on both ends of the floor for Tennessee here this afternoon.
Of the 11 rebounds for Jordan Horston, 4 have come on the offensive glass for her today. 4 of the 20 offensive rebounds that Tennessee has as a team, as Christy mentioned a moment ago. Let's see what Georgia does out of the timeout. They get Richardson in there, and guess who's there with the block? Tamari Key hammers it down. 5 blocks for Key, 5 blocks for Horston here this afternoon. Stady, knocked out by Key, getting way away from the paint to get the hands out there and stay active. Again, Key playing with 4 fouls.
The last time UGA tried to take Puckett off the bounce, Key, as usual, was that rim protector.
Sarah Ashley Barker is the leader in threes made and attempted, but you can see how Tennessee just extending the defense. Nothing coming easily here. Stady will launch a 3. No. Puckett had good position for the rebound. She's fighting for it and finds Horston, and a foul is called on Sarah Ashley Barker with 23.1 to go.
Looked like UGA was trying to get a 3 there. When the play broke down, I wish someone would just try to attack the rim. Way too much time went off the clock.
They had their mind set on a 3. They look at the scoreboard, 6-point game, and there was still plenty of time left to get a quick 2 and try to get a stop. And now a timeout's going to be called here by Tennessee, and they will advance it to the front court. The shot clock is off, 23.1 on the game clock, and the next Georgia foul will put Tennessee at the free throw line.
Where this entire second half has been about Tennessee now taking care of the ball compared to how they were in the first half. UGA had 17 first half points off of turnovers. They have none here in the second half.
6 Tennessee turnovers in the second half, 5 coming here in the fourth quarter. It's helped keep Georgia around, but Georgia has been unable to take advantage of those turnovers. Georgia has missed their last 9 field goal attempts. You talked about it right from the very start. Tennessee's elite defense takes it up another notch in the half court.
It hasn't been perfect. And we've said that that's probably the best way to describe this Tennessee team as a whole. They make mistakes, but they stay in plays. They stay in games, and they make winning plays when it matters most.
Trying to stretch their winning streak to 9 games and improve to 7-0 in the SEC. The first place team in the conference with the ball and the lead, 23.1 to go. Batted around, still controlled by Walker back into the game with the 4 fouls. Barker picks up her 4th personal, and it'll be 2 free throws for Jordan Walker, who is a 62% free throw shooter.
Well, free throw shooting was the Achilles heel of this Tennessee program as they started SEC play, but they have improved so much over the course of the last 6 games.
10 for 12 from the line last Sunday in the victory against Kentucky. Walker calmly knocks down the first. Today, Tennessee at 71% from the free throw line. Stady needs some help and got possession in time to get a timeout. So Georgia will advance it to the front court with 18 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter.
Huge heads-up play by Jenna Stady to call the timeout because Walker was about to tie her up.
Stady going down to the floor. Seems to be okay. So now a 7-point game with 18 seconds to go.
And to redeem my poor math, it is a 3-possession game now. So if you're UGA, you want a quick score. You don't need to settle for a 3 because right now it's about getting points on the board as quickly as possible. And we know what UGA has done. As Karen Lang, who's the end of the game coach for UGA, is drawing up a play for the Lady Bulldogs. But Sarah Ashley Barker with the big 3 with 0.4 seconds to go against NC State to send that game to overtime.
So if Georgia's going to be looking for a 3 here, Sarah Ashley Barker would be their prime target at 36%. Hugh Morrison has been very good from outside the 3-point line, leading the team at 40%. We talked before how Stady can knock down 3s, and Reagan Richardson has been a good one as well. So Isha Smith has come into the game for Georgia. They are looking for something over the top to Smith, and they say she touched it last, and it will be Tennessee basketball, but the officials will go to the monitor to confirm it.
So I'm sure Jody Taylor will use this as a mock timeout here to get her defense set. And if it is their ball, they will have the offensive play called to avoid having to burn another timeout.
Now, Horston got her hands in there as well, so was she the last one to touch it, or was it Smith? The call on the court is Tennessee basketball. I saw that move by the left hand of Smith taking the swipe. I don't think she got it with the left hand on the follow through there. And the call is confirmed. It will be Tennessee basketball.
So if you're Tennessee, first and foremost, get the ball inbounded cleanly. For UGA, I'd love to see them try to go for a steal, then foul. I expect someone to go long here for Tennessee.
Tennessee does have a timeout remaining if they need it. It's thrown into Ray Burrell, and Burrell will dribble out some clock here. Georgia has it knocked away by Sarah Ashley Barker. Does Burrell. Barker would rather not foul. She's got 4, but time is running out. Ooh, almost thrown away by Tennessee. And now Horston is fouled by Smith.
Tennessee very lucky to maintain control of that possession. UGA just didn't see the loose ball, or they could have had an easy 2.
A reminder, Mississippi State and Arkansas coming up in just a few minutes. Jordan Horston trying to put this away for the Lady Vols. Well, I think people keep waiting for Tennessee to stub their toe, but this Tennessee team has proven again they got some pretty strong steel-toe boots that they bring to each and every game, and the Lady Vols are now 18-1, 7-0 in the SEC.
Well, I'll say those steel-toed boots are made for dancing because this is a Tennessee Lady Vol team that continues to find ways to win.
Tennessee started to turn things around midway through the second quarter.